Good afternoon. It is good to be back with you after taking a bit of a Christmas and New Year's break from these weekly videos. Today, what I want to do is share some personal reflections with you, and then I have an ask of those of you that are watching this today, and I'll let you know what that is at the end. On January 31st, our church is going to have a celebration and vision service. And what it is a chance for us, particularly at the beginning of a new year, to do two things. One is to reflect, to celebrate, to think back on what God has been doing in this past year and to celebrate how God has been active. And then to look forward to say, what is God going to be doing? And what do we anticipate him doing in the year ahead? In both cases, the focus is on Jesus, on what he's done and what he's going to do. And that's the focus of our celebration and our vision. And so that's what we're going to be doing on January 31st. We want to do it as a church. And so I engaged in a little bit of the same for myself. And if you're like me and you look back over 2020, you can clearly see the costs of the year. For myself, I lost both friends and family last year. They passed away. There were some significant issues that came up because of COVID-19, particularly in terms of seeing our family, which is not in country, that led to some significant isolation. We've had to battle feelings of loneliness and relational distancing. The transition of moving from a long-held house and job and church family to a new one has had its challenges, both emotionally and otherwise. And so we've had to go through this, and to cap it off for the whole year, at the end of the year, my wife and I came down with COVID and had to battle through that for several weeks. But through this entire time, as I look at 2020, God was present and he was active and he was at work through the entire thing. And there are so many stories that we could tell. We received unexpected financial blessings from multiple places at multiple times during the course of the year when we needed it most. We got to rejoice at the birth of our newest grandson. That's fantastic. It was a great way to end the year, quite frankly. We were able to I was personally able to get some personal milestones accomplished this year. And most of all, throughout the course of 2020, I was able to, God led me into greater dependence, greater confidence, and greater faith in him. So, here's what I'm asking of you. Every one of you, when you look at the last year, can see the same things that I did. And some of the details of those stories are maybe for a later time. But what we have is we have things that maybe even though we were challenged, that God was faithful and God proved faithful and the kingdom of God advanced in us and around us. And so we want to be able to tell those stories. And you, watching this video, know more than anyone what those are. And so I'm going to ask you to do over the next week to 10 days is to email me, Facebook message me, send it to the office at this church, and let us know in a paragraph how one way or two ways where God has shown up this last year. How has he worked? What have you seen? What has he done? What is worth celebrating? We're trying to collect some of these stories so that when we come together on the 31st, we have something to celebrate. Next week on the Wednesday video, I will focus on the other part, which is the vision. Where are we heading? I want to give you a taste of some of the things we'll be talking about on January 31st. But until then, we serve and follow a marvelous God who does great things. And it's something we want to celebrate together. So I look forward to hearing from you, from hearing your stories, from hearing your experiences of him. And we'll talk to you next week when we look a little bit more into the future. Have a great week.